Jose Mourinho is widely regarded as one of the best managers to ever do it. With 1,000 matches managed with 9 different clubs, the special one boasts a win percentage of 63.05, which is a higher rate than Sir Alex and Carlo Ancelotti. To add to that, 8 league titles in 4 different countries, and the only coach to win the Champions League, Europa League and the Conference League. Impressive career so far, but where was he at his managerial prime? Welcome to Football Reminisce, and thank you for joining as we try to answer this particular question. If you enjoy the content, you know what to do. Let's get to it. Before getting his shot at managing, Jose served as a translator, then as an assistant for Sir Bobby Robson at Sporting CP, FC Porto and Barcelona. He continued working at Barcelona with Louis van Gaal, who entrusted him with the coaching duties of Barcelona's B-side. Jose's first stint as a manager was at Benfica, where he moved up from his role as an assistant, replacing Jupp Heynckes just 4 games into the 2000-2001 season. Mourinho's reign at Benfica was going well, but after the club changed presidents, his stint was at risk. Newly elected Manuel Villareño wanted to instate a new manager but had no intentions of sacking him right away. After beating rival Sporting 3-0, Jose tested the president's loyalty by asking for a new contract, which was rejected. Jose then resigned from his position immediately. Later, the president ruled his poor judgment by saying, "Put me back then and I would extend his contract." After only 9 league games in charge of Benfica, Jose was on the move. His next opportunity came 7 months later at LEIRIA, ahead of the 2001-2002 season. His spell there lasted for only half a season though. After guiding LEIRIA to 4th place by January, which was 1 point ahead of Porto and 1 point behind Benfica, Jose caught the eye of numerous clubs. Despite his club being only 6 points behind the league leaders at the time, he decided to move to FC Porto, who were in 5th and going through a rough season. This was also his second time at Porto, 8 years after being an assistant to Sir Bobby Robson. He guided FC Porto to a 3rd place finish, ending the season with 11 wins from 15 games, and promised to make Porto champions the next season, and that's exactly what he did. Talk about backing up your words. During the pre-season ahead of his first full campaign at Porto, he identified his key players in the market, signing 2 players from his former club LEIRIA, another 2 from his other former team Benfica, and a couple more who fitted into his system. An intense high-pressure game, starting with the forward players. With his new signings and the players he trusted from the previous season, Jose could now depend on the physicality of the midfielders and defenders who would force the opposition to numerous errors. That season, Porto stayed unbeaten up until February, eventually losing just 2 games. At home, they won 16 of the 17 games. The other one was a draw, the first game of that season. They also beat both Benfica and Sporting home and away and finished the league campaign with 86 points, which was a league record in Portugal at the time. In addition to that, they won the UEFA Cup and the Cup, the Taça de Portugal, beating LEIRIA in the final, his former club, a treble. Believe it or not, the next season was even better. This time, they won all 17 home league games, retaining the title. They also won the Portuguese Super Cup and, even more impressively, won the Champions League, iconically beating Man United in the last 16 with a 90th minute goal at Old Trafford. They put 4 past Lyon in the quarterfinals, conceding 0 goals against Deportivo, and made easy work of Monaco in the final. Benfica did deny them in the Portuguese Cup final though, while Milan beat them in the UEFA Super Cup. 2 full seasons at Porto, 6 trophies, but this was just the start. Next stop, Chelsea. When Jose arrived at Stamford Bridge, Chelsea had never won the Premier League. Man United and Arsenal had won every single league title between 1996 and 2004. Jose had his work cut out for him, but nothing fazed him. In a press conference, he said, "We have top players, and sorry if I'm arrogant, we have a top manager. Please don't call me arrogant, but I'm European champion and I think I'm the special one." Whenever you talk like that, just make sure to back it up. Mourinho definitely did. He carried over his home form from Portugal, losing 0 home games at Chelsea. Chelsea won their first title in 50 years, losing 1 game all season. They broke the record for the most points achieved and conceded only 15 goals. They also won the League Cup and only went out of the Champions League after a controversial Liverpool goal in the semis. The next season, Chelsea retained the Premier League title, the second manager to ever do that after Sir Alex. The home record was incredible once again, winning 18 and drawing 1. Chelsea also added the Community Shield. In his third season at Chelsea, he won both the FA Cup and Carling Cup. No league title this time, but yet another season without losing a home game. If you add his 2 full seasons at Porto, that was now 5 years without a loss for Mourinho at home, close to 100 games. The following season, Jose departed Chelsea in September after disagreements with the board, but before he was gone, Chelsea did break the record set by Liverpool in the late 1970s of most consecutive home games without defeat. His next challenge came in 2008, Inter Milan, replacing Roberto Mancini. It didn't take him too long to bag his first piece of silverware in Italy, winning the Supercoppa Italia against Roma. Jose guided Inter to the Scudetto, finishing 10 points ahead of second-place Juventus. Once again, no home losses all season. That was now 6 full seasons without any losses at home, with 3 different clubs in 3 different countries, and I can promise you it gets even better. Despite 2 trophies, it was seen as a disappointing season after their failure in the Cup and in the Champions League. That summer, Inter lost Adriano, Crespo and Ibrahimovic. Luis Figo also retired. Any team would falter after the departures of such huge names. Not Mourinho's Inter though. After the arrivals of Eto'o, Milito, Thiago Motta and Sneijder, Inter would go on to achieve the treble. Incredibly, Jose did not lose any home games for a 7th consecutive season, leading Inter to their 5th Serie A title in a row. It didn't take too long to give us a taste of what was to come that season, thrashing rivals Milan 4-0 in the second game of the campaign. They won the Coppa Italia as well, getting the better of Juve, Roma and Fiorentina on their way to securing that trophy. But it was in the Champions League where the genius was truly shown. That season in Europe, Mourinho and Inter faced Pep Guardiola's Barcelona 4 times, the first 2 in the group stage where they could only manage 1 point from 6 games and didn't even score against the Spanish giants home or away. Despite not winning any of the opening 3 group games, Inter still progressed to the knockout rounds. In the round of 16, Jose got the better of his former employers Chelsea, beating them home and away in what was described as one of Mo's best career highlights. That season, Chelsea went on to win the Premier League and FA Cup. In the semis, they were matched up against Barcelona once again. This time, they did score against them. Not once, not twice, but 3 times in the first leg. They eventually won that tie 3-2 after losing 1-0 in the second leg at Camp Nou. Barcelona, remember, were defending champions of the Champions League. Jose described that game as the most beautiful defeat of his life, that 1-0 loss. It got even better 1 month later when they beat Bayern Munich 2-0 in the final, Mo's second UCL title. Diego Milito, Eto'o, Thiago Motta and Sneijder, Mourinho's new signings that campaign, were all instrumental in Inter's European glory that year. In terms of personal records for the special one, he became the first manager to guide 3 different teams to the UCL semis. He also won his second Champions League trophy. In the process, he helped Inter reach a European Cup final for the first time in 38 years, which they obviously won alongside the League and Cup, the first Italian club to ever complete the treble. The very next day, Mourinho said, "I'm sad as this is my last game with Inter. If you don't coach Real Madrid, then you will always have a gap in your career." Real Madrid did pay a huge compensation package to Inter to secure more services. Next up, Spain, the La Liga. That season, Real Madrid scored 3+ goals in 18 different league games. Out of those 18, they scored 5+ in 7 of them. 6 away at Valencia, another 6 away at Sevilla. Deportivo and Racing were also victims. It was even worse for others like Almeria, who conceded 8, and Levante, who encountered the same fate in the Cup. In total, they scored 102 league goals, 148 in all competitions. Ronaldo notched up 53, countless hat-tricks in there. It wasn't all him though. Benzema got a couple of match balls. Adebayo and Higuain got their own trebles as well. Ozil had the most assists in the league. Offensively, it was a superb first season for Mourinho. Notice I say offensively. Defensive-wise, it wasn't the best. There was a lot of 6-2s, 6-3s, 2-2s, 3-1s. The worst came at the hands of their title rivals Barcelona, losing 5-0 at Camp Nou, which was described as Real's worst game in history by Florentino Perez. In total, Pep and Jose faced each other 5 times that season, with Real managing only 1 victory. It was an important one though, a 1-0 win in the Copa del Rey final, Mo's first trophy with Real Madrid, ending an 18-year wait for Real Madrid winning that cup. Barcelona eliminated them in the UCL semis and finished 4 points ahead of them in the league. Another disappointing aspect about that season for Jose was his home record. Between March 2002 and April 2011, Mourinho did not lose a single home league game at any of his clubs. 9 years, 150 games. But that record came to an end when Real lost 1-0 to Sporting Gijón, and just a couple of weeks later they suffered another home defeat, 3-2 to Zaragoza. Just like his first season at Inter, 1 trophy was seen as a disappointment, and Jose knew he had to go a step further to get the better of Pep and Barcelona. 2011-2012 was a remarkable one. Jose and Real set several new records in La Liga. They reached 100 points, 121 goals scored, a goal difference of +89, 16 away wins, 32 overall wins, winning the title 9 points ahead of Barcelona. Real also won 2-1 at Camp Nou, the first time they had beaten them in the league since 2008 and the first time they had won away at Barcelona since 2007. It was another disappointing end in Europe though, losing in the semis once again, this time on penalties against Bayern Munich. They lost to Barcelona in both the Supercopa and Copa del Rey. Mourinho's third season with Real was one to forget. Internal conflicts between him and the players, as they finished 15 points behind Barcelona, who equaled Real's record of 100 points from the previous campaign. Eliminated in the Champions League semis for a 3rd consecutive season, this time to Dortmund. A certain Lewandowski scored 4 goals in 1 game. Atletico Madrid put the nail in the coffin after a 2-1 win in the Copa del Rey final. Mo called the 2012-2013 campaign the worst of his career. That summer, the special one made his return to Stamford Bridge. His first shot at silverware in his second spell with Chelsea was the UEFA Super Cup against Bayern Munich, which ended in a loss, but only on penalties. Chelsea didn't win any trophies that year, but Mo did describe it as a transitional season for the Blues, despite finishing only 4 points behind Man City, who were the champions. The 2014-2015 season was definitely successful. Chelsea signed Diego Costa, Cesc Fabregas, and saw the return of Courtois from a 3-year loan spell, and finally the return of club legend Didier Drogba. Just like in his first spell with the club, Jose's first trophy was the League Cup, followed by his 3rd Premier League title, winning it with 3 games to spare. Jose was named manager of the season. The 2015-2016 season was quite a forgetful one though. After losing 9 of their first 16 games, Chelsea parted ways with the special one. And so, he was on the move again. This time, surprisingly, to Manchester United. It was actually a successful time there, despite United struggling since Fergie's departure, winning 3 trophies in his first season: the League Cup, Community Shield, and the Europa League. I'm not sure if I can call that a treble, but it was kind of a treble. In the process, he became the first United manager to win a major trophy in their debut season and maintained his 100% record of winning every major European Cup final as a manager. In his second season at United, he led them to a 2nd place finish, but 19 points behind the champions, and lost the FA Cup final to his former club Chelsea. The next season, Mourinho was sacked after a poor start to the season. Mo went on to manage Tottenham and Roma, where he recently won a UEFA Conference League. But I think you'll agree that at this point we are already past his prime. With all that out of the way, let's finally answer the question. First up, the eliminations. His first managerial shots were at BENFICA and LEIRIA, where he actually registered a 50% plus win percentage at both clubs, but it was too early and he spent less than a season at both clubs, so X for both. Roma and Spurs are easy eliminations as well, but who knows what Mourinho will actually go on to achieve in Rome. Next up, his second spell at Chelsea and his time at United. His return to Chelsea was decent in the first season, but nothing major. Second season was highly successful in the league and cup. The third one was shocking. If I was grading it, I'd give it somewhere between a B- and a C+, but nothing more so. That is out. At United, his first season was great, but things fell apart in the second and third, so that is gone as well. What we have remaining now is his time at Porto, his first spell at Chelsea, Inter Milan and Real. Now, he broke several records at Real Madrid, especially in that title-winning season of 2011-12, but only 3 trophies won in 3 years and never delivered the big one, something that Real Madrid have achieved a lot of times since he left. His last season there was also a disaster. If Pep and Barcelona didn't exist at that time, maybe Mourinho's time in Spain would have been the best, but for now, it's out. We are down to Porto, Chelsea and Inter, where he never lost a home game in any of his full seasons. 6 trophies with Porto, including a Champions League and a UEFA Cup, where he had only 2 full seasons. Another 6 trophies with Chelsea in 3 full campaigns. In terms of best seasons ever, that 2004-2005 campaign could be argued as the best. If he had delivered a Champions League with Chelsea, this would have been an easy pick. What about Inter? 5 trophies in 2 years there. A quite successful time. What I can add is, by the time he was joining Porto, they were having a disastrous season, but one would imagine Porto were amongst the favorites to win the league, so it wasn't quite a surprise that Porto won the league titles. When he arrived at Chelsea, they were nowhere near competing for the league. He actually made them compete for it and win it in the first 2 seasons. At Inter, when he arrived, Mancini had already won a couple of league titles with them, so they were expected and guaranteed to win the league title, but he did deliver the Champions League as well. So you can argue that at any point between Porto, Chelsea, Inter Milan, Jose Mourinho was at his prime. Personally, I would go for Chelsea first, then Porto second, then Inter Milan third, but I'll let you guys vote in the comment section. Really appreciate you watching until this point. If you enjoyed, hit the like button. And one of the players who was really exceptional for Jose Mourinho at Chelsea was Petr Cech, who I did a video about a couple of weeks ago. So if you want to check that out, click on the video on screen right now. Thank you for watching and see you on the next one.